Welcome, race fans, back to SVR. My name is Webbo here. Very, very late after a holiday and issue with my voice, which I apologise for both of those things up front. My apologies if things don't come through particularly well, or I have to take a break to drink or cough. I'll do my best to move my mic out of your way. This is we're at the Red Bull Ring. For what looks to be quite a cloudy, misty start to the G1 race in round 9 of the championship. This is how things look coming out of Yamagiwa configuration of Kyoto Driving Park. Do say hello if you're joining us live, but please, no spoilers. By all means, tell me to focus on a particular car at a particular time, but no spoilers, please. Hi to Phil. Nice to see you, Phil. Thank you so much. And to everybody else who has taken the time here. I've just realised I've left my speech chat on, so I'm just going to make sure I turn that off because that came through annoyingly. So let's just how do I turn that off? I know how to turn it on. I just don't know how to turn it off. Yen can probably tell me because he uses this one. Why does that not want to come through? Do I just disconnect? And Reg joining from the Autobahn, nicely done. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna try. No, it doesn't want me to disconnect. It's easy enough to turn on. Thank you. Where have we got? There it is. And no, that's not it. It's weird. Okay. Control panel. Where are we? Full speech. There we go. Hi to Soul Shock. Okay, sorry to start the stream a little bit disjointed. Kimi's racing team lead the championship on 169 points, but only by 5 from Team Mega, and Delesi are in 3rd place then on 159. Bugstein have 143 with Yamplacht Interiors Racing Team on 119. Brokaga have 105. And Coach Dave yet to make 3 figures, but hopefully by the end of today's stream they will achieve that mini goal. Dummy heads the championship on 127 points with 3 wins to his name. A further 4 podiums, I think that is. And Senor Fak is second by only 2 points after 8 rounds of the championship. Senor Fak with 4 wins to his name and 1 further podium. Tequila Monkey, slowish start for our S1 reigning champion, finds himself now in 3rd place on 91 points and starting to really get into a rude run of form. Flash is in 4th. But not appearing in today's race as far as I can tell. Bijan is 5th on 77, and we have Dirtbag Larry, Nicky Lauda, Red in 8th with Comma Copa, Uncle Pants, Sock, Phil, Mappy and Focal as things stand in the championship. So I hope that everybody is ready to get underway. I am just about, so we should head trackside, should we not, to see how things shook out in qualifying. And Red, joining from the Autobahn, can perhaps give a quick explanation as to why we find ourselves at the back of the grid. Was there some quali ban I was not aware of? I should go ahead and review the website, and then we'll be able to see exactly what happened. I can see Yenk is already number 1 on the chat leaderboard for today. So there we go. I don't think Red is actually driving the Autobahn. I think he's probably in a passenger seat. So Red qualified in 14th place. We have Phil for Delesi in 13th. Red rocking a new asymmetrical, very prideful livery. I can see there on the car for his Kimi's racing team. Delesi still with the classic white with black and red. Then we have Mappy qualifying in 12th place with Revelit in 11th for Yamplacht Interiors, and I believe obviously Revelit will be substituting here for Yamplacht. They've been struggling to field a full roster this season. Dummy says wet quali chaos we had. Okay, understood. So Nicky Lauda for Bergstein, Funny Nicky in P10 with Focal, 14 Mega in P9. Comacopa starts for the Brocarga Jag in 8th place, and Tequila Monkey unusually qualifying in the midfield here in 7th position. Senior Fact, that's the surprise of the session so far for me, qualifying in 6th, with Sok in 5th. A great qualifying position for Sok. Bijan in the Nismo Nissan qualifying in 4th place. We have Uncle Pants doing a great job in P3. Dummy qualifying in P2 and leading the championship, but Dirtbag Larry, your pole man today for this race around the Red Bull Ring. Hopefully everybody is looking forward to the race. I certainly am. Let's find out what happens as we get the red lights to start round 9 of the G1 Championship of the VR Sim Racing World Championship, brought to you by SVR. It's dropped the clutch and it's go, go, go straight away, and everybody just easing their way away from this fairly damp looking surface, but there's no standing water. There is a little bit of standing water offline as Dummy goes down the inside into turn 1 and claims the lead of the race at this early stage. Uncle Pants just having to make his own arrangements on the outside of turn 1, excuse me, as Bijan is tucked up tight behind Dirtbag Larry, who struggled away from the start. It looks like we do have quite a bit of standing water, especially slightly offline, but Dirtbag Larry defends hard in towards turn 3, the first of the really big stops on this opening lap. Senior Facts in 6th. Looks like everybody making it through gingerly but safely enough. Mappy down in 12th. Red already up on the ascendancy, starting on the intermediate tyres for him. Phil on the hard tyres, and it's Dummy on the mediums who takes that early lead. It looks like Uncle Pants struggling on his way through turn 4, and it's the intermediate tyres explaining why he's lost a position or two, as he's just banking on there being some rain coming very, very quickly. But standing water, a small amount, not enough for the tyres to really switch on, but Dummy is away fantastically here at the start of this race. Dirtbag Larry also on the intermediate tyres, and Bijan will go side by side through turn 8 on the short shoot down towards turn 9, and Bijan has that outside line, the typical racing line on the way into the corner, and he can lean on the traction much better on the way through. There's Senior Fact challenging Uncle Pants. Senior Fact also on the dry tyres, but a set of racing hards to try and get rid of those hard tyres as early as possible. And now it's Tequila Monkey queuing up to take on the next overtake of Uncle Pants. Here comes Tequila Monkey down the inside in towards turn 1, and it looks like that's going to be a fairly straightforward overtake there with the dry tyre grip on the way out of the corner. Got to be a little bit careful on the way through, but so far so good. We do have a spinner. It's Focal, unfortunately, who has spun for Team Mega. This is how it went down. We've got the Jamplacht Interiors car directly behind us as we turn in towards the corner. Well, the tiniest of touches, if anything, might have been lag that caused the two to look like they, netcode that caused the two to look like they made a bit of contact. There comes Mappy in with trying to get off those intermediate tyres. A little bit of a respite there for the drivers who both were involved in that crash of Focal and of Revelit, I think it was, right at the back. Yes, it was. But Dummy leads by a healthy margin here on the early medium tyres, as the sky looks a little bit overcast right now. Quali was in RO6 conditions and the race start RO2, says Soulshock. Fantastic to get that information and to hold that in your memory as well for Soulshock. Because I would not be able to remember that over a week later than the race actually took place. Is it over a week? It's nearly 13 days after the race actually took place. With my continued apologies there. We've got Comacopa. He's got the silk cut Jag on the rear of the car. I really like that on the number plate. Little nod to the Jaguar racing history for Comacopa. Perhaps we'll get a closer look at that later on as we go through turn 9 and 10 of the final section of this. Only the second lap here. We'll go for 1 hour of racing as Uncle Pants pits to get off the intermediate tyres. Looks like it was a gamble that hasn't paid off for our drivers. Red up to 9th. He's staying on those intermediate tyres. Perhaps he knows something that we don't about the forecast. And Focal recovering in 12th with Revelit directly behind him. Mappy having pitted and put on soft tyres. It does look like we're going to get some some interesting weather situation, because soft tyres at this stage on the G1 is quite unusual. Dummy leads us out of the turn 3. Bijan has a really good lead, and then it's nice tight racing between Dirtbag Larry, Sock and Senor Fac, with Tequila Monkey chasing up the rear. Solchuk says he's great at remembering useless information. I'm sure you're very good at remembering useful information too. As they go through then what is turn 5, looks like Larry able to live with the grip at the moment, but he is burning through those intermediate tyres. I'm just looking at how warm those tyres are at this stage, and that is quite considerable. Compare that to the dry tyres at this point with the medium tyres here with Sock, who gets brilliant drive out of turn 7 through turn 8, shadowing him. You can barely see him in the wide and low slung Audi R8 shadow. There goes Dirtbag Larry defending hard to the inside. Does this indicate to everybody that he's heading into the pits? Absolutely, as he stands on the brakes and tries to get the car in. I did watch the S2 race as presented by Brum on this very very similar conditions, I should say, and the pit lane was the talking point of that race, as well as Beans and Mates. Nicky Lauda in P6 as we come up the hill towards the turn 1. Nicky Lauda very much on his own here in P6, with Phil up from near the back of the grid, the back row of the grid at least, in P7 on those hard tyres. Focal has that damage on the front right, but it looks to be like he's able to ride with it at this point. It's not so desperate he needs to head into the pits. But an interesting one there, because he seemed to be hit at the rear of the car, not the front right, and I didn't see him make contact with the barrier. Dirtbag Larry out of the pits onto medium tyres in 10th place, leading the group of drivers who have done the same thing. Penalty for Mappy off throttle for 1 second. Same for Uncle Pants as well, who's come on out with the medium tyres. So has Comma, Copa and Red then on the hard tyres at the back of the grid at the moment, exactly where he started, with a lot of ground to catch up, but taking an early gamble there to try with the intermediate tyres, try and do something different, but it hasn't worked out. Dummy's lead is absolutely huge at just this 4th racing lap here. Looks to be 5 or 6 seconds. He's really got this Lexus dialed up at the moment, with an all black livery here, just a few hints of red on the sponsor logos at the moment, but Dummy then stealthing his way forward and gaining a huge amount on the rest of the field, banking that time for later on. We have no caution periods, of course, here in SVR, so any lead you do builds a cushion for later in the race, and the race isn't going to come back to anybody after any given caution period. At this stage, we may try and experiment through the course of the off-season, perhaps. Dummy with the fastest lap of 1:30.933 at this point, as Senor Fac chases down Sock for that final podium position for 3rd place. So powering out of the corner, Tequila Monkey has moved forward from his 7th place starting position, but on the hard tyres, seemingly unable to really make any inroads in Senor Fac, Sock, Bijan and Dummy's positioning at this point. There's Tequila Monkey in that 5th place, with Nicky Lauda at his home race here in P6 at the moment, and feeling the weight and the support of the home crowd pressure. Phil and Focal, the next ones to battle. It's great to see Focal having caught up with Phil here at this stage, thanks to putting in some good lap times there. 1:32's the last 2 laps. That's 2 seconds a lap faster than Phil and several other drivers I've cycled through at this stage. And here we go then, P8 for Focal as we head down towards the turn 9 here, the final 2 turns of the Red Bull Ring, as we look for an opportunity. I see USMC, is that the United States Marine Corps, on the outside of the outside window of the car. Let's have a little close look at that one. Is that USMC? Is that what I'm looking at? Or is it looks like a Bulldog insignia? I can't quite make it out. My apologies, but foot planted firmly to the bulkhead goes the Lexus, and the Porsche defends to the inside, but at the moment looks like Focal has the better run through here. Focal makes the overtake. It's not quite done at the apex. Yes, it is. And up to P7. So picking things back up and running with a little bit of damage. Team Mega in first and in 7th place now, and building for a strong result at this early stage of our 9th race of the season. Next up though, for a battle comes Senor Fak with Sok just ahead of him here. This is for provisional podium place. Senor Fak, of course, trying to do well here in the championship. Senor Fak currently in 2nd place, just 2 points off Dummy, so needs to minimise those point losses to Dummy. At this stage, it's looking like it's going to be a two-way battle for the championship, so Senor Fak has a lot to do. If we are not going to see the wet tyres mandated here for the drivers, then they will obviously have to take the medium tyre and the hard tyre at least, or at least 2 different compounds of dry tyre at least as they come through here. Stop saying at least, Webbo. But Senor Fak in 4th place, taking a much wider line in towards turn 1. That should allow him to get a higher minimum speed and a better exit potentially, but he is then suffering the dirty air and the slight unpredictability of following a rival directly in front. Let's join him on board and get a look at that darkening sky in the shadow of the Spielberg mountain range here, and we should be on for a blockbuster race, whether it's connected to being anything to do with Spielberg or not. There is the rain cloud directly above us over the rear wing, but Senor Fak not worrying himself about that at all. Still looking to see if there is any more standing water here. Sok defends hard to the inside of turn 4. That will again allow a better run from Senor Fak. He's waiting as patiently as possible here. As you can see, the rear camera, no real concern for him rearward from the car. Senor Fak, though, in a position in the championship where he can't afford to take unnecessary, undue risks at the early part of the race. We're only 10.5 minutes into this race, so there's a long way yet to go. But at the moment, it looks like Dummy is becoming a real distant rival at this point. Almost the length of the start-finish straight is between Senor Fak, who's 2nd in the championship, and Dummy, who leads the race and the championship here. But it looks like at the moment the Porsche not quite able to get the overspeed that he needs in order to be within that striking distance as they come through. We've got a couple of other close drivers. Dirtbag Larry in 9th position, started pretty much, I think you can settle now on the worst of the tyre options, and we've got Revelit in 10th, but further back behind this one we've got the Jag of Comacopa, who's made it past his teammate. Let's just get a quick close-up look at what I was talking about. You can just see on the rear, let's get some sunshine on that area. That's the traditional Jaguar Racing Group 1 racing car colour scheme, purple with white there, and he's got it under his front window as well. So a bit of class there from Comacopa. Mappy back in the pits for pit stop number 2, it seems, and a new set of tyres. He's worn through those soft tyres already, and here we have Dummy. There's Mappy on his way out. Dummy in P1 and further extending the lead. 1:31 his lap times recently, as we wait for then to see what Bijan is able to do. It's 1:32s for Bijan, and back to this battle for the podium, waiting to see. But as Solshock says, damn, Sok is on it. He absolutely is in the prettiest, I would say, the prettiest Jan Placht interior team concept on the livery that we have had yet. I've seen other versions. I still prefer this one. Let me know if you think differently in the chat today. Phil says just got to see a Delesi Brocaga and Mega now. Red has got to see everybody. It seems that was a better exit for Senor Fak. Side by side, Senor Fak and Sok, but Senor Fak just biding his time out of turn 1. Waited for the infinitesimally small mistake from Sok, and just got the better drive. Porsche through, Lamborghini back to 4th. What can Senor Fak do? What indeed can Sok do to try and retaliate here? But at the moment, looks like Senor Fak just unlocking a little bit of additional performance, and Sok on the worn mediums. I think Senor Fak on the hard tyres. Porsche wearing its tyres a little bit heavier than I would expect, and certainly than the Lamborghini does. There's the darkening sky overhead, threatening to become something that the drivers will have to worry about, but for now at least they are they're in full dry conditions. Tequila Monkey in P5, just I think struggling a little on the hard tyre. There's a lot of movement mid-corner there from the Ferrari, which is very uncommon, you have to say, for the Ferrari, which seems to be the hot favourite car of the championship over the course of our season so far. Anyway, we do have a great run of tracks coming that will stretch every capability of every type of car for the remainder of our season. Niki Lauda is in P6 in the Nismo, and then we have Focal running in P7, who has put a good gap here at the moment on Phil Art. Dirtbag Larry has overtaken Phil. I don't know if Phil's been in the pits. He hasn't been in the pits. Just on the hard tyres, just unable to really live with the pace of the medium runners, but he'll get that payoff back later on. Komakopa versus Revelit down into turn 1. Komakopa doing a lot of work in the final sector of the preceding lap, and through he goes for in the Jag. And moving forward then, it's great to see the Brokaga team able to race with a lot more confidence than they were in the Supra. So really good to see that our drivers are able to push, able to start to unlock their not inconsiderable skill. It was a great shame to see our Brokaga team hampered somewhat, you have to say, at the early part of this season with the car that they had picked. Revelit in P11 here on the medium tyres, and Uncle Pants now starting to queue up, but picking up a half-second penalty. That's not going to help in his bid to try and follow his team leader, or at least fastest teammate today as he runs through. He's just got half a second off throttle, probably won't affect the car in a great deal, and he'll be able to rebuild quite quickly from there. Here is Red in P13 in the half and half livery. Very nice indeed. I think I know my pride flags well enough to guess. I know we've got trans on the right hand side, but we'll just have to confirm. I think that is the gay flag on this side of the car, but I will just need to get confirmation on that. So I don't want to add in. But I can put 5 more viewers on that number now, Red. You say, okay, great, thank you. Good to see. Lots of people tuning in mid-race. My apologies for the short notice, but just my schedule today has been a little bit up and down. Haven't known whether my voice is going to be able to make this happen today. We've got a lot of very close drivers at the moment running through here. This is the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, Komakopa, Phil, Uncle Pants and Revelit kind of set of battles going on as we look for the next potential overtake. Dummy still leads us on lap 11 comfortably from Bijan and Senor Fak. I'll go back and have a look at those drivers momentarily. Love this camera angle. It is absolutely brilliant, especially if you're cloud watching nervously. I was hoping one of our drivers' weather radars would be showing here on the grid. But there's Mappy having made 2 pit stops. I think that was intermediates, softs and now hards. I don't think he'll get the hard tyres through to a finish, unfortunately. And here is Dummy on the north straight between turn 3 and 4, in common with the rearmost drivers. Such is Dummy's pace at the moment. Look at the metronomic lap times on the right hand side of your screen. He went fastest on lap 4, 1:30.9, but every other lap so far has been in the 1:30.1s. Medium tyres running through to lap 12. I think they will be traded for a new set very soon indeed, as Bijan now has to start thinking about a decreasing gap behind. Looked like that was a bit of a rough lap, the last one, a 33.8 from Bijan, so a micro mistake potentially costing him an additional second as he starts to focus on the fact that Senor Fak is catching him quite considerably. A 1:31.9 is a very quick time from Senor Fak, whose car is just getting better and better because the hard tyres are good and the fuel is coming off. We are burning through that fuel at quite a rate. Of course, the drivers start with 75 litres of fuel in these cars, I don't know if we're going to get into full darkness or sunset conditions. Perhaps our drivers can let me know here, but it does look like the light is fading. Of course, we won't see the actual sunset because it's a little bit too close. We've got what could be a scheduled pit stop here from Tequila Monkey. Maybe not, in fact. I mean, that's a surprise. He's done 12 laps on the hard tyre. They had life left and he had fuel left to go. As we run back just to see what's happening here. This is Phil R, who is re-catching Uncle Pants has made an overtake on Phil R, and perhaps this is explaining a little bit why. Phil with huge understeer going through turn 7, and there goes Uncle Pants straight through and past on the left, just with a better run through the corner, unfortunately, for Phil. But Uncle Pants now making it a 9-10 for Bro Carga. That was a competitive overtake. You could argue that he was pressured into it from Uncle Pants. And yeah, there we have. We're looking at what would be the sunset direction to the west of the circuit, and certainly the sun is looking quite low in the sky as drivers navigate the pit lane. That's Tequila Monkey coming out of the pits. Doesn't look like there's any water on that side of the track. It's always something to worry about when the race starts with a little bit of standing water, is that the pit lane is going to be worse with no cars running over it to dry out a racing line. Here we go through in towards that turn 3 now. Behind Tequila Monkey is our youngster Red. So it's Kimmy's 13-14 at this point. Perhaps not what they were hoping for at the start of today, but I'm sure they will get better score than that. There's a nice wide line coming from Red there around the outside of the car. Unfortunately, Red just skating off onto the mud and dirt just as we happen to watch him. My apologies, Red. Blue flags for Mappy. Blue flags already on lap 13. Now Mappy has made 2 pit stops so far, so it is flattering to deceive slightly, but Dummy's right there, and Mappy is now receiving those blue flags. You can see 2 consecutive blue flags there, but the gap is probably still something around a second or more between the 2 of them, so I don't suppose he really is obliged to move aside just yet. Dummy is running out of tyres fast, and I wonder if it's time to go into pits. And now that you're running in the dirty air of the rearmost runner, you're losing time here at 1:31.9 the last lap, but this one is going to be significantly slower, I fear. And I think if we do get released, the chance of making a mistake is greatly increased. It doesn't look like he's coming into the pits at the end of lap 14, unless he's taking a very wide line. He is indeed. It didn't hug the inside there, really maximising his speed on the entry to the corner, and Dummy then pits from the lead in P at the end of lap 14 with 24 litres of fuel used, and that was a good stint on the medium tyres. What can anybody else do? Well, this looks like Bijan going an extra lap longer. We'll see if that yields the kind of result he wants, but he's already slower on lap 14 at 1:32.9 than he had been on the previous lap. Senior Fact takes second place away from Dummy. Does he hang on, or is Dummy going to come on out of the pits? Here he goes. Senior Fact then. We've got Sock, and so Dummy and Focal both pitting on the same lap, so they've obviously coordinated those pit stops beautifully. And Sock in third. Dummy on his way out of the pit lane. No water on the race surface down there, so I'm wondering if we actually are going to get any rain at all. I'm hoping we do for entertainment purposes, but not for our driver's sake. So there we have Dummy in 4th place then, well within pit stop gap of the 3 cars in front of him, as Dirtbag Larry on well worn but nice and warm and stable medium tyres at this point. Dirtbag Larry just trying to cope with having already used the intermediate tyre, which I think cancels out his change of dry compound requirement. I'll need confirmation on that from everybody else, but I think if you individually have used a wet set of tyres, you can count that as a changed compound. but we haven't had actual active rain on the surface, so it depends on the racing rules. And I'd love for our live audience to help me out with that one. I should know it, but unfortunately it's one of those really subtle rule. It depends whether it's declared a wet race, if the rule is about the declaration of a wet race from race control, or whether it's okay. If you use wet or intermediate, there are no required compound changes, says Phil. Thank you very much, Phil. So there's nothing to stop stop drivers from just starting at the back on a set of wets for a lap, go round and then run the most optimal tyre for the rest of the race in that case. But I'm sure our drivers would find that to be too unsporting. Comacopa in P6 runs through, and it does look like the sky is pretty dark, and whether that's fading light or simply a build-up of precipitation about to deluge onto our racing circuit. At the moment, I'm just looking to see the wind is going to blow in from directly, well, not quite, but directly ahead of us at this point. It's difficult to see what the clouds are going to be doing over those mountains and the fir trees growing on the mountains. This is on board with our Jaguar Pro Cargo driver Comacopa, who has still yet to pit, still on his medium tyres. It looks like the balance then on the Jag is beautiful. Look at the wear rate on the tyres. Whether that's driving style setup or the inherent characteristics of the Jaguar, Comacopa is able to put in a very nicely balanced run here on the tyre wear. And there's his YouTube sticker on his arm. Do follow and subscribe to Comacopa as well as SVR Racing, and I'm sure that everyone watching right now and chase viewing this later on are subscribed to the channel that it's broadcast on. We thank you so much for all the support on all of our channels. Do go ahead and build up Comacopa's account as well as SVR Racing. We highly value it. And make sure as well that you check out the merch stores available for SVR and for me, for my merch store as well. I've got a new item that I haven't actually released yet, which is a team shirt style kind of Hawaiian shirt, bowling shirt, cotton shirt with my logo on it. So it's a work in progress, but it should be available very soon, especially to American purchasers, because that's where it's coming from. That's a nice overtake from Red. Is it going to stick? I think it is. Let's go back and have a look at this one from Red's perspective. Cycle back through those cameras and get it right this time as we go from the outside to the inside. That was absolutely planted with the Ferrari versus the Lamborghini that time, and it was all done in the build-up on the exit of the final corner. Beautiful overtake from Red, and then just did enough to stop Revelet from coming straight back into a challenging position there as he comes through. So Red up to P9 now on the hard tyres, which he didn't start on, but he only ran the intermediates for a very short period of time. Solshock says something we need to clarify, I think, in a bit better internally, but that's what we went with this race, was any wet compound counts as eliminates the need for a change of compound tyre. So Focal in P12 is having got his pit stop out of the way. He's now gone for a light-ish fuel load. I think he probably could have gone for slightly less fuel if he's running the medium tyres at this point. But now you definitely see the drop in light conditions here. Headlights aren't on just yet. Sock pits from P3 at the moment. Dummy was already past Sock at that stage, or in the run, as Red says. Finally, a good move for me this race. Don't be so hard on yourself, Red. But I think you started with quite the disadvantage with the strategy and the qualifying situation. Nicky Lauda is in P11. He is stuck in the situation where he can't be too aggressive on attack and he can't be too defensive in defence as well. So it's going to be difficult. Oh wow, that was very, very close from Revelet. I thought he'd made it into the pit lane, but sadly not. Looks like he's able to get into a position where he can actually enter the pits, even if that wasn't his intention. Looks like he's low on fuel anyway. He was going for it, oversteer, crunch, and just a short trip to the pit box to get that repaired. Don't go too far onto the racetrack, or they won't let you into the pit lane. Oh, is it going to be tight? Thankfully they have let him proceed to the pits, but that was very, very close indeed, because anyone who's made a too late a decision to go into the pits knows that if you cross an invisible line, GT7 will not let you pit, and you have to go around again. Even if you're out of fuel, you can't reverse back towards the pit lane. Senor Fack leads the race. He started on the hard tyres. He's got 2 or 3 laps left of fuel, so it looks like it's going to be a 19 or 20 lap achievable stint from the start on the hard tyres. It could be even more than that looking at the wear rate. So anybody pitting now could potentially get the hard tyres home, but of course most drivers have already done their pit stop. This is Dummy coming through, passing the driver Revelit, I think, who was already lapped and into the pit lane. Will Dummy have his hands full here on the pit lane exit? No, thankfully that's all good. Excuse me a moment. Okay, so Dummy in P2, that's Revelit behind him on track, but a lap down, and Dirtbag Larry. It's Dirtbag Larry still on his first set of dry tyres. He is, and he's in a really good position here, I think. He's got the length of the second straight between himself and Tequila Monkey, who has pitted now, and is on his medium tyres. Bijan has just exited the pit lane on the previous lap, and here he comes through to try and resume into a potential podium position. Great defence from Tequila Monkey down the inside. That forces him, of course, to run wide on the exit. Bijan tried the cutback. It wasn't quite going to happen, but this beautiful Nismo is going to look very, very large indeed if Tequila Monkey can see out of his rear window. I assume that he can. Let's have a look. Well, that doesn't really tell us anything, unfortunately, but he's got stickers all over that back window, including a reference to his previous team. As we look back and see, oh no, he's taken that reference off. It's replaced with a giant pride flag and Webbo stickers. So thank you for that to him, and you can just see the little Ferrari insignia on the back of the car as well. As we wait for what could be a move incoming. Dirtbag Larry now pits from P3 for his second pit stop, his first sort of scheduled dry tyre pit stop. And Tequila Monkey waiting then for another move to come from Bijan, but it looks like Tequila has been able to get into a good enough rhythm here. Bijan has lost a little bit of time in the chase, and that's like 32.7 from Tequila Monkey, 33.7 from Bijan, who just had a rougher final half of that previous lap number 19 as they come through. Behind them, Phil and Red are in 5th and 6th position. We have Nicky Lauda in the second, Nismo running in 7th, and then we might have a little bit of action coming up here, because Sock is hanging on around the outside of that. Looks like, is that Dummy behind? No, it's Focal behind him, who gets a better run through the corner. That is Dirtbag Larry exiting the pits, and an absolute nightmare position for someone to come out and find a battle going on directly ahead. Sock has his hazard lights on as Focal goes for a lovely overtake there, but it does cause him to be hampered coming through the next corner. Let's see if Sock can recover. I just want to go back and see that overtake here. When was it actually actioned? Well, it was a better run through turn 1. He puts himself in an attack position. Sock leaves plenty of space, perhaps slightly too much space even, going through the corner, and then you can see Focal with the better run on the way down in towards turn 3. Dirtbag Larry sizing up potential to go for the gap here down the inside, but he's a little bit too far back. And then Focal, of course, has to concentrate on his braking zone very hard indeed. Let's see if Sock gets him back as they go round. This is Sock then pushing, but Focal just stretching the legs of the Lexus and just able to get far enough away to stop Sock going for the move. Senor Fact then with 0 litres of fuel remaining pits. I hope he didn't run out of fuel. I'm going to have to go see, actually, because it's rare to see someone make that determination quite that perfectly. Sock is running at full speed, 130 miles an hour here. I think he has just made it home here. That has got to be incredibly tight there as he gets down into the racing speed. And yes, it looks like he calculated that to absolute perfection and comes in with 0 on the at least single integer litre count on the fuel there. So Dummy then resumes his lead. It's been a couple of laps here while he made his pit stop. He has gone onto the medium tyres. He started on the medium tyres. He will have to run a different compound, I believe, because I think the rule would be dependent on the individual whether they use the wet tyres, not a kind of race-wide wet tyre usage. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but my assumption here is that only if you have used a wet tyre, can you forget about changing dry compounds later on. Tequila Monkey is in second place on his second set of medium tyres. Things getting a little bit squirrely on the way through turn 1 for him, but holding on well here and putting in some great lap times. There's a few high 1 minute 31s, a personal best of a 1:31.2 set on lap 16 for Tequila. So going for an aggressive 2 planned stop situation here, and in the provisional podium positions at the moment, although you have to say Bijan should be on a set of tyres and a tank of fuel that will get him home to the end of the race. So down we go in towards turn 4, stealing a lot of apex from Bijan there. I'm just waiting to see if a penalty marker comes up on the screen, but no, car 89 got away with that one. And Senor Fak is not far away either. Looks like it's going to be a 3-way battle for second position, at least for this part of the race. I'm expecting Tequila Monkey and Dummy to come in for a compound change. So I think we will see Dummy. He should be fine though. He should be fine in terms of strategy, even if no one else has to make a second stop. He's so far ahead. This is astonishing. Tequila, look at this. Tequila Monkey coming through the final corner. Dummy going through turn 3 right now. That is crazy gap. And Dummy absolutely taking this championship by the neck here. Bijan P3 and Senor Fak P4 right now. Red is not far away from this battle, could still profit from any issue going on here. Just a few drivers taking their sweet time to come through. That was a penalty for Comacopa, who was right behind Dirtbag Larry. The Jag versus the Audi, and there he ends up losing out in terms of the momentum thanks to picking up a track limit penalty, but lives to fight another day. We've got another driver into the pit lane. Can't quite see who that is. It's Phil in the Delesi Porsche, and Sock in P9 will become 8th. Dirtbag Larry, everybody will move up a position now as they pass Phil in the pits, and we've got Dirtbag Larry defending from Comacopa, who is making an absolute nuisance of himself there in Larry's mirrors. Oh, that is super tight through turn 1. Thankfully both drivers made it through. Let's see if Comacopa can get that slipstream. Well, that Jaguar looks fantastic, you have to say, and the second Jaguar is coming for a second helping round on the overtake. Uncle Pants with a great overtake there on Dirtbag Larry as well. What a fantastic Brokaga sequence. I think they'll probably put that in the team replay reel, right? Let's have a look at this from Uncle Pants' perspective as Larry is being overtaken. The top speed of the Jaguar out of turn 1. Larry was hampered because Comacopa was making the overtake, but goodness me, great driving from the Brokaga pairing. Oh, a little bit of oversteer on the exit. I think he'll hang on. It looks like that Jaguar's got a distinct top speed advantage at this stage, but frankly, Brokaga can really do with that at this point in the championship. So P9 and P10 for Brokaga right now, driving the Jag. Mr. Baglari in 11th. Further back we've got Mappy in P12, Phil out of the pits and in P13, and Revlet trying to get some points for his team and guest driving here in the Lamborghini. Red says that's not oversteer, that's style. Okay, fair enough. It didn't occur to me to issue Webbo style points for that one. Maybe I should have done. Excuse me a moment. Apologies for the state of the voice at the moment. I'm trying not to strain it too much so that I can make sure I can do the live commitments. It's red in 5th. We've got Focal in P6. Whoa, Niki Lauda at home, but the car not feeling very homely, as he or at least not very comfortable as he went through turn 1 here. Is that dirty? Yeah. Whoa. Nice one from Niki. Nice hold there as he tries to chase down Focal, who's holding on to P6 here for Team Mega. I think that'll be very welcome from Team Mega, who are chasing down Kimi's racing team in the championship, as we saw at the start of the broadcast. Further back, we have got Komakopa actually now defending from his teammate, so Uncle Pants on slightly further worn medium tyres. You'll have to let me know in the chat which is your favourite of the 2 Bro Cargo liveries. Do you like the gloss metallic green, or do you like the matte finish on Uncle Pants Bro Cargo car? Quite sure what the helmet sticker design is on the side of Uncle Pants' door. What's that what's that in reference to? It's obviously a PSVR 2 over the visor as well. I haven't seen that before anywhere. Dirtbag Larry behind Sock now. So both Bro Cargos have passed the Lamborghini of Sock on the previous lap or two, with Mappy in 12th. We've got Phil and Revelit at the back of the grid, just to keep track of car 33. Here is Dummy, a country mile, nearly half the racing track ahead of the 2nd place driver, Tequila Monkey. And then we've got a great battle for 3rd position at the moment. Senior Fact chasing Bijan's current 3rd place. Tequila Monkey getting away from these two, but I'm expecting to have to pit again. So Kuros Kai saying metallic always. That's the metallic green with matte black, is it, for clarity? Or do you like the high gloss black version of Komakopa? Hopefully Kuros Kai will be in support of Komakopa here, as their division mates over in Deviant Racing League. 2 Deviant Racing League races coming up for you on the channel. Next day live after this has been broadcast, so Sunday 15:45 UK time. 2 back-to-back races if my voice holds out. If not, I'll have to take a break and just do the 2 top tier races for tomorrow. We've got Senor Fact in P4, and he is looking for any chink in the armour of Bijan's car, and that could be there. It could be right there. I'm not laughing at that, just the happenstance of what I said, but Senor Fact then looking for some room on the left of the circuit to see if Bijan will suddenly appear. He's still hampered going on into the next corner, but Senor Fact nicely through then, and I think should be able to hold the inside line here as they head through the kink of turn 2 and head down towards turn 3. Senor Fact is definitely feeling the need to be very defensive into the next corner. Bijan is really challenging right from around the outside to the inside. That cutback will work as he heads down then with his foot pinned and waiting for his opportunity into the next corner. Shiny is always cooler, says Kuros Kai. Okay, so it's Kuros Magpie there. Eat 3 bags of Ricola. Okay, I don't even know what you're talking about, Kuros Kai, now. But you do you. Bijan P4 behind now Senor Fact, who is needing to stem the loss of points to Dummy in the championship. It is at the moment as close as it has been through the course of this season. Oh, I was hoping the voice holds. That will help, will it? That's oh, I think I know what those what Ricola is now. Thinking about it, it's throat sweets. I'll do my best. It's just hard to do back-to-back races at the best of times. Not always this way. Tequila Monkey then from P2 will now pit for what I think to be his final pit stop with 20 minutes remaining in the race. He only had 10 litres of fuel left in the car. So Senor Fact is now in P2. Although it looks like Dummy is so far ahead of this race. That is just astonishing. It's one of the biggest leads I think I have ever seen in GT racing over the course of an hour. Anyway, Dummy is putting in a absolute masterclass at the moment. Senor Fact in 2nd place with Bijan in that third position. Where is Tequila? Well, Tequila is falling way back in the order, much further back than I was expecting in terms of positions. Focal is now fourth for Team Mega, first and fourth at the moment. Focal starting a long way back from this disrupted wet qualifying. And Nicky is running in P5. Komakopa and his teammate Uncle Pants then a little bit further back. And there you see the lesser spotted Jaguar in GT3 racing, and Komakopa looking like he's got a great exit out of this. But again, when we've seen this earlier on with Komakopa, he gets a great drive, and he's possibly pinched the racetrack limits slightly too far, and he's just got a half-second penalty to pay between turn 8 and turn 9. So we've got a potential challenge coming here. This is Sock and Dirtbag Larry, I think, in different places. Well, I was going to say different strategies, but no. As Dirtbag Larry gets that inside line going through turn 5, it will become, of course, the outside for turn 6. As Sock crosses over the nose, swipes across. Dirtbag Larry with a cutback potential here, and there's Sock off on the dirt, almost running into each other. And I think that will push Sock way wide. He's going to be off throttle. Where on earth is Sock even gone? There he is, off onto the circuit. Let's have a look onto the gravel here. I don't know if on his approach to the corner he just was a little bit distracted, but he was clearly missed his braking zone, missed the apex, and then it just became a negative spiral. 2 wheels into the gravel, almost wiping out Dirtbag Larry in the Audi, and then unfortunately Sock taking a cross-country rallycross view of the infield here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and losing position, and then a slap across the face. That's a 1 second penalty next time round for Sock, unfortunately, because it was so late. Thank you to Dummy, who donates a Ricola fund. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Very kind of you to buy a super chat item there during the broadcast. I appreciate it. This is a pit stop for Nicky, who's getting his final set of tyres on around about now. Red has got a 1.5 second penalty. Any advance on 1.5 second penalty, I wonder. And there's Phil and Revelit with Mappy not far away here. Mappy was significantly hampered at the start of this race, and he's got in touch with Revelit's 13th position. It's good to see our drivers still fighting at the back of the grid. Here is Dummy coming to lap Red, and that's got to hurt, because Red has been one of our regular podium contenders when his internet holds out. Not that I'm making any digs about Red's internet, but I'm pretty sure his at least his driver today on the Autobahn might be listening in. So let's make sure we try and get Red some better internet if at all possible. Dummy in P1 and about to put a lap here on a previous podium contender, Red, who is fighting his way from the back of the grid. That's a bit of a shame for Team Mega, but Focal now pits from P4, so he'll drop backwards. I wonder how many more drivers still have a pit stop to make. It looks like the Brocarca pair probably will. Tequila Monkey has made his final pit stop, and he is now picking up those positions that he lost earlier on, and might still feature on the podium. Let's just have a look at that podium. Well, I think Bijan on the hard tyres will go through to a finish. I think Senior Fat will too. That looked like an Audi that was having to go very wide to avoid contact with one of the faster drivers, one of the leaders there. Not quite sure which of the drivers. I think that might be Dirtbag Larry on board there. And then here we go. This is Bijan, who's got to do the same thing. Dummy pits then. End of lap 28. Will he go for some soft tyres just for the fast lap and some fun? We'll keep in touch with that momentarily. But here is Bijan in third. Komakopa with his teammate Uncle Pants will presumably still need to pit as well by the look of those tyres, and possibly the fuel. The fuel might be okay. Certainly, if you look at Senior Facts fuel, he's using the Porsche. That might be marginal on the tyres to get home as well. Looks like Dummy has gone into first position on the leaderboard here as well. Dummy going with hard tyres, was that? Wow, yes indeed. So very interesting to see that. I thought he might take a chance but he's going to go for a safe set of tyres. Commentator and Uncle Pants pit then, and that will bring Tequila Monkey back into this one. So if there is a pit stop to make for Senior Fact, Tequila Monkey will be a outside bet here at a podium. And there is Tequila Monkey going through turn 1. That's a long way though on the racetrack. I don't think he's actually going to be knocking on that door, even if Senior Fact has to pit before the end of the race. Bijan might run out of fuel. The Nismo might be safe. Kuros Kai can probably tell me a bit more about the fuel economy of the Nismo, but yes, he looks like his hard tyres will be okay, but will he need a little top up here? The rest of the drivers around him have significantly more fuel on board to have finished more than half a tank for this final 15 minutes of our 1 hour endurance race. Reminded this is round 9 of the G1 Championship at the VR Simracing World Championship, brought to you by SVR, and of course all of our title team sponsors who have paid for their presence to be on the broadcast and of course on the racing cars. If you want to get involved in SVR on a corporate level, especially as we go through the post-season and build up to next season, do make sure you get in touch via the Discord, or you can contact through me. I can arrange people to be contacted, and then we can go for new. You can buy a new team franchise for the following season, or you can have one of our division title sponsorships, for example. So that would be very well received, and we do our best to make sure you get value back from any investment here, with plenty of eyes on our races and a growing audience. Dummy has a 1 minute 30.8, his fastest lap. It's nowhere near the last 2 laps because that was the out and the in and the out laps, but the hard tyres, I doubt he will go any faster than that 1:30.8 with what is estimated to be 10 laps to go from Kuros Kai. It's Senior Fact then, not a million miles away from Dummy here on the road, but I think Senior Fact potentially he might need to change for some softs at the end of the race, so he might need some stationary time in the pit lane. He's got his teammate behind him on track, that's Phil, currently running outside of the top 8, and Bijan has for company, well, he's just put a lap, I think, on that driver, that is Dirtbag Larry, I want to say. Let's see if I can see the helmet. It's just not quite visible at the moment, but Tequila Monkey is running out of turn 7 and turn 8 now, and there he is, number 4, declining to use the number 1 as our reigning SVR champion this season because he switched codes, completed open wheel Formula racing last season, and he's changed for a set of Ferrari wheels here, but he's wearing the gold rims as a nod to his achievement last year. Dirtbag Larry, P5 as he comes through to finish out lap 30 and start that 31st lap. And here we have Sock back in 6th after the Brokaga pair pitted. Here is Red up to P7. Looks like he's good for the end of the race, especially in that Ferrari with that better fuel economy. Nicky in 8th, and then Commentator and Uncle Pants back in to P9 and P10, but on the medium tyres for the finish. I think they'll be looking forward to a strong final stint here. 12 minutes to go overall, and then the Focal is not far from that group as well. I think everybody in this group of cars is able to drive to a finish uninterrupted. Looks like, sadly, we're not going to get any rain at this stage as well. A very dull, overcast, if slightly threatening day with some standing water when we started the race, but it never transpired into anything, and several drivers making a gamble on intermediate tyres to start the race. It didn't work out, sadly, for them. Here comes Commentator, who's been exiting those corners absolutely beautifully and using those tyres really equally throughout the course of the race. Couldn't quite make the overtake, but he's certainly making Nicky watch in his mirrors here as we go for the outside move. It's very difficult to make a move work around the outside, even if you've got a tyre advantage around there, so he'll just have to be patient, bide his time here as he runs through. And it looks like we're going to have Dummy, Bijan, and Senior Fact has dropped behind Bijan, and has damage on the car. Senior Fact, that is really important. Let's go back and see how that happened. I'm just going to count how far back I'm actually going here to see what happened to Senior Fact. Oh dear, I hope it wasn't some sort of lapping sequence. This is an overtake actually coming from Bijan. I think we might have to go even further back. There is a wrinkled front of a Porsche. So, oh dear me, he's been off. He has been off. So it's down in towards turn 3 we go with Senior Fact. Is it as simple as it's the tail going out on the Porsche? His teammate goes through in to overtake him, and then you've got Bijan who will come and challenge him. But that is damage on the front of the Porsche. You can see it writ large there. Bosch, it says on the front corner. I think they'll be regretting putting that particular sticker on the front of the car. And Bijan sweeping around the outside. That was so tight between the Nismo and the Porsche. In fact, it was so tight that they continue to run wheel arch to wheel arch here as they go then in towards the next left-hander. Bijan should have the impetus to go round, and of course Senior Fact will be struggling with that front splitter damage to the Porsche. And we've got an Audi R8 in the mix there as well. But Senior Fact, I don't think the medium tyres were at a point where you can really blame the mediums for going off like that. But Senior Fact, a momentary loss of traction coming on out of turn 3, and that has cost him a challenge here for second place, or at least cost him second place at this stage of proceedings. He'll get the slipstream at the moment. Dummy though, having made that pit stop, is disappearing ahead of this group. That he was only a small distance away from them as he exited the pits on his hard tyres. Now he's building that gap once again, and the gap's only going to grow with the second and third place drivers currently fighting over this. It's going to be a challenging final 11 minutes here for our Croatian racer. Looking forward to racing at home next race, I'm sure, in the Dragon Trail Gardens, Dragon Trail Seaside configuration. We go back to that circuit. And he's also helped me rename one of the corners, one of the corner sequences there as well, and make sure that I'm representing some of the stars of Croatia's sporting history. And we currently have, I think the vote may have ended, but I'm waiting to hear what the vote result is for the renaming of the Death Chicane. That we have listed a competition for charity this last couple of weeks. So I haven't heard yet what that's going to be. I'm sure I will be told in time for the broadcast, and I desperately hope it's not the Webbo weave. So I really hope that our drivers have gone for something with more taste than that. It's Senior Fact in third place, lap 32 at the moment. The front damage isn't costing him a great deal here. It might cost him a little bit of top speed, but perhaps. He's definitely pushing hard here and trying to make take the opportunity. We've got several battles on the grid happening in these final few laps, but I don't want to cut away from this podium battle while it is the two drivers are so very close to one another. Let's join him on board as he gets tucked in. Then this is Bijan. We'll see if Bijan can handle the constant pressure, says Guros Kai. He's left the inside open, and Senior Fact, how cooperative will they be? Well, Senior Fact was through, and that was a nicely done overtake then from Senior Fact. Let's have a second look at it from a stable camera angle as we go down into turn 3. The scene of his undoing in the previous sequence there, but a very clean overtake from Senior Fact and through into second position. Let's see what Solchuk said. Webbo weave was great. It was not. It was horrible, and I don't want any corners named after me. Thank you very much anyway. Oh, that was very tight as Bijan tried to sweep across the Porsche. It wasn't quite on, and he was met with the resistance of a shell of the body shell of a Porsche with the front of his Nismo. So just trading a little bit of white and teal paint there on the mostly white Porsche as they come through. Solchuk saying it was my suggestion. Well, you should hang your head, frankly, Solchuk. Do not suggest naming any corners after me, thank you. There's no way on earth. If I struggle to commentate on my own racing, can you imagine using my own name for a corner? Dear oh me, dear oh dear. Not something I'm going to be in favour of at all. It's Bijan in P3, Simucube in P2, and Tequila Monkey slightly further back then in P3. This battle is really on between the two of them. I don't want to cut away, but we do have some really nice tight midfield battles at the moment. Let's see them through the next sequence while the others are going through a twisty section, and we'll perhaps have to alternate between these current battles going. Down we go into turn 3. Oh, and they're just going long on the brake pedal with senior fact. Bijan will have a great run here. Look at that fantastic looking Nismo as we get really close with the camera angle. Senior fact to the outside. Bijan, you can make the exit of this corner work on the outside lane, but senior fact was placing the car absolutely beautifully through there. So we will cut back to this battle. Look at this, terrific to finish the race. P6, Niki Lauda racing in his home race. Red racing from Germany, not far from, of course, sharing a border with Austria. And Uncle Pants and Komakopa, our American-based drivers. Although Komakopa is a Frenchman himself, born just outside Le Mans, and Komakopa to the outside. Red has to defend to the inside and goes long. That's a Kimi Antonelli line through the corner, and through goes Uncle Pants. No, it was Komakopa went through the lot of them. Terrific stuff. We have got to see that happen all over again from Komakopa's perspective. Uncle Pants was slightly further ahead. A clatter between them, an outside to inside move from Komakopa, masterful from him. A little bit less than masterful from the other three drivers concerned. Niki hanging on. Bijan has pitted from P3. I can only imagine that is a scheduled pit stop. Let's just check that one out. Bijan, there's no damage on the car, surely? No damage. No, he had run out of fuel in the Nismo. That was super close. Minute 53 here. He's forced to pit. He can't get home. He's running out of hard tyres anyway. And Tequila Monkey will close in towards Bijan. I don't know if he will actually overtake him that far back, but we will wait and see. So that will mean that the battle for second place has been somewhat neutered at this point. I do wonder if Senior Fact will pit as well, and then Bijan will get the undercut as they continue to come through here. Uncle Pants versus Red, little bit of paint, a little bit of Rubbins racing going on into turn 6, and Red is clearly struggling to defend against these drivers on newer tyres here. Certainly the Brokaga pair are on new tyres. The Jaguar looks like it's a great car to drive, and there goes a penalty added to Red. He's defending so hard, he's off the track slightly and loses out, so he will lose a position. I think he may even lose a place out to Focal and drop down to 10th place. Red potentially here, but still climbing many places from his start position. Sock, Phil, Mappy and Revelit, the current bottom 4 in the standings. And I'll go back to this battle, this close battle. As Solchik said, the car looking good, and it has a two-face vibe to it. Almost lost the stream there for a moment, even though I've done nothing to my LAN cable. So clearly my ISP giving hearing about Red, I think, and having a little sympathy moment. It took 5 hours, says Red. This great new livery, split down the middle, and we've got this is Uncle Pants on Niki Lauda going for that outside to inside manoeuvre. Will be better on the way out. So just confirm for me, Red. I know the trans half, but I just don't have 100% confidence in the other half of the flag. Do let me know what that represents, if you would, please. We've got them coming through then, and he's about to pay off that 1 second penalty, and that will. And he also just gets out of the way of the following driver as well. Very, very sporting of Red as Focal goes through then into P9. He's on newish hard tyres. The same strategy here as his team leader. Bisexual is that one. Thank you so much. So I got that one wrong before. But yeah, appreciate the deliveries, appreciate the communities that you are representing. Thank you so much, Red, for standing tall and proud. We stand with you, of course. Here is Mappy then, I think just being lapped potentially. Is that Phil? No, that was Mappy just being lapped by Phil's teammate, Senor Fak, at the head of the field. This is Dummy, heading to start his lap 37, just under 4 minutes to go. Dummy's still pushing hard, even though he's on the hard tyre and he's got a decent gap. Still in the 1:31s here on the hard tyre. So he really is working the wheel very hard indeed. We've got Senor Fak in P2. Not a lot of fuel left in the Porsche to get home. So he may need to start thinking about turning the engine down. Those medium tyres may not last out either. That's going to be a very uncomfortable ride to a finish. And I hope that the fuel or tyres don't drop off a cliff and leave him in low fuel mode, or worse, spinning before the end of the race. He needs that tow from his teammate, really, if Phil can oblige here. Big sideways motion going through the corner. That's only going to scrub the tyre even more. And there you can see the crumpled front of the Porsche. They're going to have to get that panel beaten or remolded for the next round. Tequila Monkey, P3 at the moment. I did see a really cool suggestion for our next season or an off-season event, which was rally or rally cross, where no damage is repairable, no pit stops are allowed, or no damage can be repaired over the course of an endurance rally race. I thought that was really cool. Kiros Kai says if he touches a blade of grass, he will be spinning on those tyres. So he does need to be ferociously careful, if that's even a thing. Dirtbag Larry, that's one of those fantastic oxymorons, isn't it? There's Dirtbag Larry in P5, and then this brilliant battle at the moment. We've got Komakopa getting a bit of distance between this group, but Nicky Lauda, Uncle Pants, Focal and Red really going for it here to give us a good show at the end of the race. Love to see it, as there's Nicky defending hard. Uncle Pants has gone outside to inside for the switchback. Unfortunately, Uncle Pants goes slightly too long on the brakes, gives Nicky some reprieve there, and then Red is battling to hang on. No, he's re-overtaken Focal, so Red has come right back here, despite lacking a lot of grip. Focal will go try and hang it all the way around the outside. Oh, they touch on the corner, and Focal is brave enough to sit with him. The Ferrari has been over the line here. Focal is on the line. Is he over the line? Going through turn 8, will we see a penalty suddenly arrive over the top of the Lexus? I think he's just got away with it, has Focal. And then right round the outside of turn 9, you can't do that at full throttle for sure. So he's doing his best here, car 18, to hang on to P9. And there's the penalty that came eventually. But the tiniest of touches between Red and Focal. I don't know if that will be a post-race investigation on that one. I could even check, couldn't I? I should probably check while we're on live here, as long as my dinner isn't going cold, and I'm keeping my family waiting. Phil in second, Mappy 13th, Revelit in 14th at the moment, just trying to pick up some points for Jan Plax while they try and booster their driver roster. Despite some fantastic AI artwork, they have not been able to get hold of some permanent drivers here for the Jan Plax Interiors team. This is lap 39 beginning. It should be the final lap of the race, and Senor Fak has to tiptoe around here in the Porsche to try and hold on to the second position, and it is going to be mighty close at the end of the race. Dummy has been absolutely peerless and dominant so far in this great sequence through the race. Revelit has actually finished in P14. I just want to check in with these guys as Focal has got the position back then on Red. Let's just see how that one went. It was coming through turn 6. I think it's about to be given back up again. That's over the line once again from Focal. He's on the curb. Will the game allow him to hang on to that one? I think he will. I think it will, but he's going to take a 1 second penalty. They will go through. No, they won't. This is the final portion of the race for this group, unfortunately for them. And the flag has flown. Dirtbag Larry takes home P5. We will get Komakopa. Where is Dummy? He's okay. I'm not going to miss. Komakopa in 6th. Great race for Jaguar. For Bro Kaga, 6th and 7th. Nicky Lauda on the line. right close with him. Red and Focal and in 9th and 10th. And we'll go back to Dummy, who exits the final corner, lights ablaze, absolutely unbeatable today in G1. And Dummy back on the winner's step for Team Mega, takes home another win and extends his championship lead. Senor Fac on his own here can just ease the car home, turn the engine down, and go through to a finish with Tequila Monkey a distant 3rd position. The sun is setting. We won't go into full darkness here. And Soulshock saying, Dummy just putting on a masterclass. Exactly. Here comes Senor Fac then, 2nd in the championship, 2nd in the race today. But the gap is growing, and there comes the Audi to cross the line. We've got Tequila Monkey to pick up a P3. I don't know if we'd be happy or slightly disappointed with that one. I'm sure Bijan would be disappointed. Dummy, Senor Fac, Tequila Monkey, your podium ahead of Bijan and others. Let's have a quick look then at the post-race situation and make sure that we didn't see any post-race investigations. I will just change this one then. Thanks to Beragos for building me this fine display, so I don't get spoilers. We'll have a look at any post-race penalties that might have been applied. There's one on Red's name there, and Red was given a penalty for what exactly this was. Lap 34. It was not the incident I thought it was. So that was with Nicky. Lap 34, turn 3. So Red was given a penalty, a 5-second penalty at the end. Red still, well, ending up finishing in 10th. He did cross the line in 9th, but Focal was close enough. And there you can see no further action on the other reported incidents. If you want to look at all of our races history, any of the drivers, their Twitch streams, their current record, please go to info.svr-racing.com. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Thanks for taking part in today's live stream. Like the video, do all the good stuff. Subscribe to Karma Copa, subscribe to SVR Racing, and we will catch you on the next race day.